looks like I got a sponsor. Well, I have to say, I didn't think that this day was gonna come. Switch that garage door closes. Okay, I have to say I didn't think today was gonna happen, ever, but I'm pretty happy about it. I've never gotten a part for a car for free. Not that I could ever think of, and the fact that somebody reached out to me from one of my YouTube videos, and I thought it was too good to be true, of course. But yeah, let's check out the package. So one of my subscribers reached out to me, Campos Vasquez, owns a side company, CAMPOSITES, I believe the name is. I'll put a link in the description and on the screen. Willing to send out suspension components that I'm in need of before I get an alignment, and it just happened to come in on Friday, and today being Monday, I'm actually getting my alignment tomorrow, and it's perfect timing. So I'm going to go ahead and try to install the RCAs, which I'll show you what they look like, and front adjustable tie rods. Two, of course. The other one's in the package wrapped up. And then 2 RCAs for the back, for the rear, and then 2 for the front. Basically, it adds is like a spacer in between the ball joint, which I'm also replacing too. You know, we'll just get right into putting all the parts together. I'm gonna jack the car up. I'm also gonna take off the camber bolt because I had it in the rear just for insurance purposes to see if, you know, it would rub after several drives, and it doesn't at all. And I don't really like the rear camber, plus with the alignment being a little out of whack, after going for a little bit of a drive and then feeling the tire is quite warm, so it is having a lot of scrub or, you know, camber wear. So I'm going to remove the camber, I'm going to put the other bolt back in, and replace the ball joints with the RCAs. And we'll check out how bad the previous ball joints are, how good the new ones are. And later on in the future videos, I'm going to show the before and after on the alignment so you can see how well the components are. Also, when I do the front, like I have serious wobble in the steering wheel, which I don't think will go away from the rear because I need to do some stuff to the front. But right now, I'm going to concentrate on fixing the problems I have in the rear. Okay, so yeah. All right, so before I start taking things apart, I figured I'd show the best I can. Right here, you have your rear ball joint. Right, here's the new one. So this new one will go in its place, but in between here and here, there's going to be a spacer. It's called an RCA. Alright, so this is your RCA. It's a roll center adjuster. This is what's going to bolt on to the ball joint. Basically acts as a spacer in between the ball joint and the control arm, where it bolts onto the control arm. And basically when you lower your vehicle, the geometry of the suspension completely changes because you lower everything, and this basically corrects that, eliminates bump steer, and really just corrects all the geometry on this part of the control arm. So yeah, it's a direct bolt on. Hopefully everything comes off easily and I can just put it right on. So we're going to start taking stuff apart. Alright, well, so far so good. I took out the 2 bolts right here, the ball joints right here, so I was able to get a pry bar, just pry this control arm down. So now I got to take the cotter pin out of here and take this nut off, and then I got to use a special tool to hopefully pop this out. Okay, so here we have the old ball joint that I removed, and you can see the play in it. It's completely shot. And this one, it's the new one. It's very hard. I can't even move it. And hopefully we can get it in in half the time it took me to get it out, because it took me about an hour to mess around with it. Well, should just leave it for the professionals. Sorry, someone's cutting our grass. But should have just left it for the professionals. Freaking dirty as hell. Took me several hours to get it done. I don't know, about like 2 hours or so. Finally got it in, the RCA. It was just hard to maneuver around. I ended up tearing the boot right here. I'm gonna need to get another ball joint, but for the time being it's in. and I'll just get a new one within the next couple days and probably install it next week. But like I said, I gotta get an alignment tomorrow, so I try to get the other one in. What a headache, man. What a freaking headache. I shouldn't even try to attempt to do it by myself, but I ended up accomplishing it. The only thing is I tore the ball joint. So I learned something. Yeah. My God. So I'm gonna try to attempt to show you in a better way of how I did this. So first I'm gonna take these two bolts and nuts out. All right, so as you can see, I got the two nuts off. It's actually gonna work out well because I'm not even gonna use the top one I had in there, the camber bolt. So I'll throw the other one back in there, the big beefy one. Yeah. So now I'm gonna come under here and take that castle nut off. All right, so now that I got the castle nut off, I have to use this special tool. I have no idea what it's called. I just happen to have it laying around in the garage. And basically this part presses up against the shaft of the ball joint, and these two pieces clamp into here. And when you clamp it on and this part comes up, this part hits that and presses it out. Now I've had to rig it up with two clamps, which I'll show you in a second after I rig it up. Actually, before I press this out, I gotta take this nut off. I put this jig up here. Now I was having a problem on the other side where I was bringing this bolt part up to press this out, and when the pressure got too much, it just slid off. So I ended up putting a C-clamp to hold both the clamps together so they don't drop off, and it still did it. It stopped doing it once I put yet another clamp. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one more clamp and try to press this out. That worked. All right, great. So you hear the little pop? That means the press worked. And now you can see it's loose. You can see a little bit of a gap. A little bit of a gap right there. So now we'll try to take that out. So I just use the jack to raise this whole section, and I can just pop this out. This looks so much easier than what, well, this was a lot easier than the other side, but this will have a lot of play. Yeah, this, you can see this has a lot of play. Let me grab the other one. This is the other one, fresh out the box. Castle off, it comes off with the plastic things. Nothing happens to the rubber piece here. As you can tell, this one, again, it's a lot easier once it's connected, but it's obviously hard as hell to put on. And yeah, let's get the spacer, the RCA for it. All right. So hopefully I can do this without destroying this rubber boot. That goes in there. This is the tricky part. This goes on top. That was a lot easier than the first one. No broken boot. Just gonna tighten these up. Put those bolts back in. Like I said, the regular ones, no camber. And we're done. So all the damage that's been done. Literally took me a third of the time doing the right side than it did the left side. You live and you learn. I should have left it for the professionals, but then again, you know, you do it yourself. This type of stuff happens, and you learn from it. And I did it myself, and I could say that. I did tear the boot on the one side. Stuff happens, but I'm actually proud of myself. I didn't think I could do it, and I did it. It helps when you have all the tools, and when you keep everything organized. I'm gonna clean up everything, put the wheels back on, go for a test drive, and see how it feels. I actually just talked to one of my mechanics. And we're not going to do the alignment because the front's still messed up. You know, I still need a steering rack. I still need to do the inner tie rods. Yeah, so we're not going to do the alignment because I'll just have to do it again. But it should feel a little bit differently since I got the new ball joints in and the RCAs in. And no camber bolts. So I'll put everything back together, go for test drive, and see where it's at. Lowered her back down. You see, one suspension component, no more camber in the rear. Now it's time for the test drive. I have to say right off the bat, it feels stiffer, it feels tighter. Like in the rear, it definitely feels a lot better. So honestly, I'm pretty happy about it. At first I was like, dude, this isn't gonna be worth it. It took me 5 hours or so to freaking put ball joints in the rear. Oh my goodness. At least it'll be easier the next time, be faster the next time. But I can tell you right now, right off the bat, suspension feels better. Sorry, my hails are all over the place. I'm actually gonna be cutting it soon. Next month or so, my son and I are gonna cut our hair, we're gonna donate it. All right, so as you can see right now, there's no spoiler on the car. Now, I was at my cousin's house. Just reminiscing about whatever, and I was thinking about the spoiler and how before I wanted to put a little lip on it. And I came across, I believe on YouTube, he goes under the name Godspeed JDNY, and he basically takes his spoiler. We have the same spoiler setup, but he basically takes his and lines it up so the back bolt connects to the front of the spoiler, and the rear sticks out like that. So what I did was I traced out on cardboard the template that would go right here. So basically the back half of the spoiler is going to be, this will be bolted to the side of the spoiler, and the back half of the spoiler is going to be bolted up here. And that's going to be cut from this piece. And like everything else that I do, I don't know how well it's going to turn out because this is pretty thick, because I want to be able to, you know, actually hold up and not break. But then, you know, it's gonna flex the spoiler a little bit. I think I might have enough room because I know this is on a little loose and it can flex a little bit. With it being fiberglass, it could break. Trial and error like everything else that I do, but we're gonna see if it works out, and I think it will. If it does, it's gonna look like how I want to look. I mean, the other way, when I tried to use the fender for like a little extension piece, that was pretty bad. After looking at it, I'm like, I can't believe I decided to try to do that, but it is what it is. This is actually better because it's just altering the actual spoiler itself and just tilting it back. I can also add, like my cousin was telling me, I could add the rods that come up from the trunk to the actual spoiler. Then I can adjust how much of an angle it is. But for right now, I think I'm just gonna cut out the metal and see what we get from there. So after spending a little too much time trying to cut this out, because it's pretty thick, decided, you know, I'm not gonna go that route. I'm gonna retrace the stuff on this polycarbonate and cut it out on the bandsaw over there. I'm just gonna show you afterwards, after I cut it, when I line everything up, because the last couple of videos, when I was like using the grinder, I was getting like up close shots and I burned some spots in the lens of this GoPro, like the cover to the lens, and that's why, and like the last like 2 or 3 videos, you saw like a little dot in the lens, but I got a new cap on it. I'm not trying to ruin this one. So all right, so I made my initial cut on the polycarbonate, and you just basically want to line it up, make sure the cuts are even, and they're not, so I had to redraw that line to trim it up. And real quick, if anybody knows if this will hold up or break, because I guess polycarbonate's a big word for plexiglass. I don't know if it'll hold up. Maybe I'll find out before somebody tells me the answer when my spoiler breaks off and goes down the road. But yeah, or if anybody knows anything that'll be stronger but yet light, easy to cut, let me know down in the comments. As for right now, I'm going to make my final cut and I guess try to bolt it up, see where we go. All right, so after messing with the spoiler for about 3 to 4 hours, it's safe to say I got a good prototype going at least. Check that out. So it's risen up like how I want. So I had basically cut out this piece, bolted it to the side of the spoiler with both of the bolts and nuts that I had laying around, and then attaching the top one to the rear bolt hole in the spoiler. Essentially just moved back. And it's sitting exactly how I want it.
Now this is just the makings of it. I'll have to trim it, and I messed up drilling this hole, but I mean, again, it's the first one, so it is what it is. But it's on there, man. It's pretty sturdy. Pretty proud of myself. Now, obviously, the ends are gonna have to get capped. You know, the caps right here to clean them up. And that just covers it up like that. Yeah, that's the spoiler how it sits. It's more aggressive now. Not too bad of a day. So we did the ball joints, the RCAs. I have to replace the one ball joint because I tore the boot. It was my first time ever doing it, and I did it. Just took all damn day to do everything that I wanted to do, but it got done. And I replaced the camber bolt. So now there's no camber. It sits a little bit poked out. It's perfect, really, man. And I went for a test drive, no rubbing. Everything's good to go. But yeah, I'm really liking how this spoiler turned out. Really liking how that turned out. Alright, that'll be it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Peace out. What's going on, guys? I'm actually pretty excited today. Back in the garage. I'm actually filming from my phone today because I didn't bring my GoPro because I didn't think I was going to do anything. But I'm going to take this wheel. It's my old Varstein ES8 wheel that I had broken while I was snow drifting. Bruh. Now, I'm going to hang it up right up here above my workbench. And yeah, I'm going to turn it into a chandelier. Well, kind of like a chandelier. I'm going to put a light fixture in it, or a light bulb, something. And yeah, it's going to turn out pretty cool. Alright, so after thinking about it, I don't think I'm going to put it up here because the rim comes down about like 10.5 inches. It's going to cut off the viewing of that beautiful flag over there. So I think I'm going to put it right in the middle here, basically where this outlet is too, because then I can just run the bulb right up through. I'm just having the bulb stick out right in the middle of this. And you have to excuse everything that's in the garage because we're having a yard sale within the next weekend or two. So my first attempt on trying to hook this thing up, I'm going to take these two hooks and put one on that beam and the other one on that beam. I'm going to lube up the spot that I marked off for drilling. So I managed to get the rim up there with the hook. The only thing is you can see on the hook on the outside. On the other side I did it from the inside. Which, I mean, who really cares? Oh, there we have it.